On Sunday, 1st of September, on the eve of his Apostolic Journey to Southeast Asia and Oceania, Pope Francis visited the Basilica Santa Maria Maggiore in Rome to pray before the icon of the Virgin Mary. He entrusted to her his Apostolic Journey to Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, Timor Leste and Singapore. Before he departed from Rome, I spoke to Clément Melki, a Vatican correspondent with the news agency AFP, to find out what does he do as a Vatican correspondent and what does he love about his job.
So I've been here in Rome for 3 years, covering the Vatican, and basically my work is to follow the Pope and the news related to the Church, the Catholic Church, and the Pope. So we follow him when he moves, and we also try to explain how the Church works and all the news related to the Holy See. So getting to know some diplomats, some priests, cardinals, and explaining all the stakes related to this papacy. So since I arrived, I've had the chance to cover many, events that are important for the Church. They are not always important for, the public in general. But we covered the death of former Pope Benedict, who had resigned in 2013 and who has lived in the shadow of Pope Francis for 10 years. So it was a big event. But, the strongest moments remain the trips, I think, which are always very exciting to cover because we meet a lot of people. We get to know many countries, and papal visit is always also considered as a historic moment in the country. So it's always nice to be there.
I asked Clément if there was any difference in covering Pope events or church events compared to other events, and also what challenges he faces.
I also cover some of Italy, and I have to say it's very different to be here at the Vatican because first, like any place of power, it's a rather confidential world. So access is not always easy. It's often very difficult. And then because the Vatican also restricts a lot its communication, so even if we do have good relations with their press service, it's it's a very old institution. It's they don't react immediately to the news. So for an agency, it's sometimes difficult to work on different timings. And above all, I'd say that there is a great mistrust also toward journalists. For people inside, refuse to speak to us. So having sources inside is difficult, and it takes a lot of time to gain people's trust. That's the main challenge. So we speak to other sources, such as diplomats, priests, also experts, researchers, and that's a main part of the job.
What about aspects of press freedom? Are you restricted in reporting anything, or do they dictate how you report?
No, the Vatican press service do read what we write, I think, but I've never received any mail or letter or anything saying you mustn't write this or this.
What I really wanted to know was how close can a correspondent get to the Holy Father, and what happens on those flights.
We meet him on every trip. He comes to greet us, and he also received us this year at the beginning of the year in audience, in private audience, and sometimes we can exchange a few words with him on the sidelines of certain events, but it's pretty rare, actually. We are at the back of the plane, and he's with his delegation and the whole team. So basically, when we travel, he always come to greet us and to say a few words to us at the beginning of the flights. So we also can shake hands with him. say a few words, give him some gifts, but it's very quick actually. But yeah, we just have this privileged time with him, and then I think the rest of the time he's just with his team, speaking with his delegation, cardinals, bishops. I guess he also takes some time to rest or to sleep, and he always sits on the front row, so the first row on the left. And in front of him, he has this icon of the Virgin Mary. And that's it. We're in a separate section, so we can't see him.
Does the Pope have a Pope plane?
Many people ask us these questions, imagining all sort of things about the Pope's plane, but actually it's very simple. I'm sorry if I disappoint you, but it's a very normal plane. It's a classic plane from national companies. So often the Italian one when we leave, it's not a private plane such as the one of Air Force One for the US president. So it's very classic actually.
I wondered what his impression was of the Holy Father, having spent a lot of time with him.
Well, I think he's a pope who wants to change many things inside the church. He's been undertaking a lot of reforms. I'd say he's a pope in charge. I mean, he's the one who decides and governs. So sometimes he's criticized also for being too authoritarian, too personal. I'd say I'm impressed also by his ability to move forward or continue his mission without looking at criticism or rumors about his health, when he will resign, is he still capacity to govern. But we have the impression that he sees much more on the long term than we do. He's very determined actually.
We've seen Pope Francis on a wheelchair recently, and also he's been having some health issues. Now at the age of 87, he's making his longest journey in his pontificate. Well, I asked Clément, how is the Pope's health at this time?
So he's 87, he will turn 88 in December, so he's an old man. He's been using the wheelchair for 2 years now. So he can't really walk because of pain in the knee. And then he's also had some lung problems. He had a lung problem when he was young, and he has a lot of breathing problems. So often during winter time, he's ill, he's sick. Sometimes he has to go to a hospital, and of course, this is really worrying for everyone around him, and also for journalists covering the Vatican, because we never know at this age what's going to happen. So he's in fragile health, but at the same time, for his age, he's in good shape. He still can do such very long trips. He's the eldest pope to travel abroad. He's older than John Paul II at the time, at the end. So, as long as he can travel, he will remain in charge. And he's been saying and repeating that he won't, abandon his position so far for the time being, as long as he can continue.
I also asked Clément to give us an insight of the Holy Father's trip to Southeast Asia and Oceania. What does Pope Francis hope to achieve from visiting these 4 countries?
It's going to be a really exciting trip. First, is the longest and the most distant since his election, actually in 2013. So it's a real, human and physical challenge for him. And then, all the stakes of this trip are really interesting because they are really diverse. He will probably speak about climate change, also interreligious dialogue will be a key stake, especially in Indonesia, where he will take part to an interreligious meeting with other religious representatives. So they may sign an agreement or a document. So this is going to be very interesting to follow. And also in East Timor, I think he should speak about sexual abuse because it's a country that has been marked by child abuse over the last decades. So we'll see what he will say, if he will say strong words or not. I think there is a whole part of the Catholic community that are waiting for action, and we know that in East Timor, a big part of the population is still, defending people who are accused. So it's a very sensitive topic, and it's going to be very interesting to follow, I think.
The papal visit will be a momentous occasion for Catholics in the region. I asked Clément what he's looking forward to as a journalist.
Well, personally, I'm looking forward to collective moments, interesting meeting with people. It's always the most interesting part of the work. When we get to know the people of the country, speaking with them, and trying to understand what they think, what is, their traditions, why is this Pope important for them? Because in all the countries where we go, I am always, amazed by how people love the Pope or follow the Pope. It's, kind of a representative of God on earth, and this is always interesting depending on the countries we go. And then historic moments, because it's a very long and distant trip. So yeah.
Many thanks to Clément. Well, we hope to have more conversations like this and meet people like Clément. And also, I'll be visiting Singapore for the papal visit. So if you'd like to support the channel, please do subscribe and give us a like.